Can you hear me, Brian?
No, I got nothing.
Can you hear me now?
No,
Can you hear me now?
I hear you a little. There you are. There you are. There you
Oh,
are.
here
I'm
we
on
are.
two. I'm on two.
All right, you're on 2.
Oh, let me drink.
3, 2, 1.
It's the Stock Podcast sound. What's up? This is Keith Kalfas with the Untrapped Podcast. Man, we got Brian Fullerton. Brian's Lawn Maintenance on YouTube. The man, the myth, the legend. He's here.
Are we actually recording already?
Yeah, we're already recording. I mean, we're cranking.
Keith just comes in hot, dude. I'm drinking my energy drink. I'm like, I'm on video. What are we doing?
Bro. So, fist bump. What's up,
dude?
Brian Fullerton here in my basement studio, the Digital Man Cave. Dude, we got cameras, we got lights, man. We just did an episode on Brian's podcast, and it was awesome. And we're doing a back-to-back combo here, one on yours, one on mine. What's your podcast?
It's going to be called the Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast. I don't know when this is going out, but it's a secret for another 2 weeks. But by the time this probably comes out, it'll be rocking and roll with, it'll come out the end of February, and then hopefully we have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but it'll be called Fullerton Unfiltered. And the idea is just to literally have casual conversations with other guys, you know, business owners, entrepreneurs, people in the green industry, of course, but it's an entirely different take on Brian Fullerton. Like YouTube, I always call is like really pretty, really polished, really edited. You know, it's like a highlight reel. But dude, I want to hear people's stories. Like I want to hear the behind the scenes, people's struggle, victory, just real life, real topics, real conversations. So the idea is like, you don't really put that kind of content on YouTube. It just doesn't really do well. You know what I mean? But on podcasting, it's kind of like the forum for it. So my idea is to have all these kind of conversations behind the scenes on the podcast. I'm really excited. That's going to be like my new big pet project for 2020.
Nice, bro. And what an awesome episode it was. And now you're here on the Untrapped Podcast.
Yeah.
So right now, at the time of this show, we're down season. It's winter, plowing snow.
Right.
And, I mean, we're literally halfway through the winter. And so you guys are doing crushing it in lawn care all summer. You're making YouTube videos, but now you're plowing snow. And
we're trying to. We haven't had that busy of a winter. It was pretty late December, pretty late January. February's we had like 5 or 6 snow events in like the first 10, 12 days, you know, and you wouldn't know because you're on tour. You're in Orlando, Florida or whatever and living the dream, you know, looking at 80 degree weather and palm trees. And Liz and I were there like 3 weeks ago, and I'm like, you want to go back? Because Keith and Ashley look like they're having a good time. So that's the idea.
you just posted, I saw on my Instagram, you posted a video. You like smashed into a garage door or something with your plow.
Yeah.
Like I've plowed snow 15 years, and I know like your sensory acuity, you get so good that you can get so close, and you'll get out and you're like, yeah, I dropped that bitch like 2 inches from hitting the garage. How did you hit it,
Dude? Okay, so this will probably get blown out of proportion, but it was a tap-a-roo. Okay, it was just the rubber snow guard deflector that is on the front of the plow. It came down and it kissed the garage. No dent, thankfully. No scrape, thankfully. Had a little household cleaner, fantastic, 409 or whatever. And I bought it at my gas station. I was freaking out, to be honest with you, bro. I was like, oh no, the thing finally happened. The inevitable. Like I'm out of business. This customer's gonna freak out on me. And now I'm gonna put this on YouTube, and people are probably gonna, like all that stuff. And it was actually really blown out of proportion. But I milked it. I had to make a YouTube video because who hasn't gotten afraid of hitting a garage door with their plow? But it was just a little kiss, little tap-a-roo. Customer was totally cool, totally fine. Thank God. And life goes on. But yeah, it's been a decent little 2 weeks plowing snow. We've put a couple bucks in the bank, thankfully. Well, invoiced a couple bucks, and hopefully everybody pays their bill, and you know how that goes. So
Nice. Yeah, and plowing snow, dude. There was literally, it was like 18 inches of snow. I was plowing an apartment complex, and right at the center of the main drag, the blacktop dipped.
Ooh.
And there was a manhole, but it was a convex one that sticks up.
Oh.
And the snow was so heavy I couldn't even get through it, so I put it in V mode. I was going like 15 miles per hour in V mode, making my initial clear. And the front of the V, dude, I hit the manhole cover so hard that the truck stopped. The ass end of the truck popped up in the air. It blew the whole back windshield out.
Holy
and I
crap.
smashed my head on. Dude, I totaled an entire truck.
For real.
And I couldn't turn my neck or head or anything.
Not good.
I had to go see a chiropractor and shit. I just
Was it back at the old company
that
that you were working for? One of the national landscape companies or whatever? Or was this-
this was a company that I was working at before.
Oh, okay.
I think this is when I first started my business and I was doing snow plowing, subcontracting.
Oh, okay.
Another time, that's what, like, I quit plowing snow
It's a grind, bro.
because
Yeah.
I was, I had other,
I remember
talk about that,
I
dude.
remember you saying you said this like on Instagram or a YouTube video a couple days ago because or maybe it was like a live stream. Somebody was asking you, why don't you plow snow? And you're like, dude, because it sucks because you're on call. You can't leave. You can't go 2 minutes down the road without it, turning into, oh, we got 1.5 inches of snow. You're gonna come out here and do my driveway, do my sidewalks, and it's totally true. Like if we didn't make the money we make, there's no way I do snow. I mean, I've always talked to Liz. I'm like, hey, we could always subcontract this whole thing out. We don't, we're not rich, but like we don't overly need it. It's all extra credit. But it helps pay the bills and makes going in the spring that much easier, obviously. But it's tough, man. And we don't even salt. I have a subcontractor that salts. But if you take plowing and salting, dude, you're going 40, 50 times out there in 90 days. It means every other day you're going out there doing salting or snow, which doesn't sound like, it's not bad because you're working, dude. It's a business, right? You're making money, but it's not like mowing grass where it's like fun, it's nice, it's predictable. It's like you're out in the sun. It's like 10 degrees out, the wind's whipping, it sucks, it's brutal. You're out 2 a.m, 4 a.m.
dude, I
Never sleeping.
there's, I mean, 90% of snow I love doing because I do Joe Rogan podcast. I even dive into the conspiracy podcast. You can have conversations and catch up with your buddies who plow snow at 3 a.m.
It's so weird.
and get out and make some yellow snow.
I'm talking to my friend Mike Bedell at 4 a.m. for an hour and a half. Another kid, Alex, some of the people that listen to the podcast, like they're all out hanging out. They're shooting me messages on Instagram. They're getting same snowstorm in Chicago, same snowstorm in Ohio that we get blanketed with. And I'm like, dude, what are you up to? Like, there's a guy, Dylan Solo Cuts Landscaping. He called me and we talked for like an hour and a half at I don't know, like 5:36 in the morning because he's got a job where he's currently delivering like food, like Cisco or whatever. And they deliver food from like 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. And he texted me at 5:30. He's like, dude, I'm still working today, man. Like we got 2 inches over here. How much you guys got? I'm like 6 inches. I'm like, dude, call me. Like, he's got his Bluetooth in, right? So we do the whole deal and we're hanging out. And so we have like this hour and a half long, just do really super deep, really real conversation. And he calls me, he goes, ever expect to have a conversation at 5:30 in the morning? I go, you kidding me? I just got off the phone with somebody else an hour ago. so when you're plowing snow, it's a different world out there. You got to be a little crazy to do snow, just to be honest with you.
And we can't do it now. We're all over the country. Like
Right.
I mean, literally, we're gone in 3 different states just this month. So it's hard. And my business isn't like Stan Genetics business where he can do it remotely.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a long time, a lot of commitment to get it to that point. So,
well, there's I know you went to Jason Creel's event because Jason Creel asked me like probably like 6 months ago. He had his Lawn Care Life conference about a month ago at this time, and maybe not even. And he's like, Brian, can we get you in for speaking at my event again? Jason Creel's Southern, if you guys don't know. He's an amazing dude. I'm not making fun, but he's a Southern boy. And he's like, Brian, we'd love to have you in. And if you want to speak on stage, it's an open invite, blank check. We'd love to have you in. And I told him, I'm like, well, dude, like it's last time he did his conference, it was early November, right? And so it wasn't snowing. And so this time it was like mid-January. And I'm like, well, 25% chance I ain't going to be able to make it because, it's going to be snowing. He goes, oh, well, I can't really bank on that. I go, I will be your backup if something falls through because I'll pay the insurance on the flight and I can be there in 24 hours. But I'm like, you need to get my boy Keith Kalfas. He's like, yeah, I know Keith. He's like, I've never really got to like talk to him one-on-one. Is he a nice guy? And that's my Southern accent, by the way. And I go, dude, get Keith there, man. And by the way, all the reports came in because Jason told me, I had him on my podcast, that you stole the show. Everybody else that was there did a great job, but he said everybody overwhelmingly, I guess he sends out a, you don't know this, but he sent out a feedback report, like a survey, and everybody said like, who's your favorite person or topic? And I guess like overwhelmingly people said you, which, spoiler alert, no surprise there. So good job.
oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, here, send the $20 check in the mail, right? For the shout out. Oh, we're live streaming. Wow.
Yeah, we're on the Untrapped podcast right now and live streaming on Instagram Live. We have Brian's Lawn Maintenance. And guys, if you want to see the show,
Wow, I'm on the big screen behind you.
yeah, on the big screen, gotta just type in the Untrapped podcast on YouTube, and that'll all be on the video on that channel. Or you can listen to the podcast. Just type in Untrapped podcast. We're live streaming on
This guy's got this
Instagram,
Joe Rogan studio going on. There's TVs, there's monitors. I don't even know where to look right now. I feel like Will Ferrell. I don't know what to do with my hands, and it's pretty funny, dude. When you get two nerds like us together in the basement, we're just having fun. So this is good.
But so we can get back to the podcast, I'm going to turn this off. I just want to say what's up, guys. We just did an episode on Brian's podcast as well.
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, it'll be out.
2 weeks. What's up, guys? How we doing?
Yeah, dog.
Love you guys.
All right, peace.
Cool. Well, this is cool, man. You got this whole setup down here. I wish we could turn the audio, turn the video around, like point out, because there's so much stuff going on down here. Like, yeah, this like studio thing. All I'm looking at is like dollar signs. I'm like, that's $200. That's a cute camera. Like, that's a sweet camera. This is going on, and you get this whole like production, bro. Me, I got like my little board. I carry it like under my like a little trapper keeper, walking into your house. I'm like, hey man, I'm here to do a podcast. I look like Charlie Brown out there walking around. He's like, this house, come over here. I'm like, I'm just like wandering around aimlessly. So
You're a beast, man.
I don't know about that. There you go.
So I want to ask you about two things. One is your actual lawn care business, your plans in the spring, and then two, the other thing is you had the Launchpreneur Academy.
Yeah.
That I went to. It was an awesome experience, man. I learned so much there, and
Thanks. It was a good time. Thanks for speaking at it.
you're doing that again this year.
Yeah. November 7th. I think it's Saturday. We're gonna do same thing. Maybe like 20% bigger. We got a different room because we were busting at the seams at the last one. There's going to be so many more announcements, but yeah, November 7th, Saturday. Hoping to have you in speaking again. I've already talked to you behind the scenes a little bit, and dude, it's going to be really, really cool. Hopefully get Stan there again, a couple other guys. We're going to rotate a few speakers. Not that they didn't do a good job. They did an amazing job, but just, change it up, keep it fresh. It was really good. Yeah, lawn care season's coming up, dude. I don't mind winter, like I said. I definitely am more of a grass cutting guy, I like making the money of snow. It's just, it's so hit or miss sometimes. But yeah, I run a maintenance business, man. I love cutting grass. I love being out there. It sounds so cliche. Even like this will be our 13th or 14th season, but like it's still like one of those I've never felt like I've worked a day in my life, deals. Like I love cutting grass. I've never woke up one day and I'm like, I'm done with this. I don't like mowing. And yeah, we tote the camera around with us, 2-3 days a week, and try to capture some content while we're out there mowing. Just capture videos and edit that late nights and weekends. And but yeah, dude, I love cutting grass. Now, you said like spring's right around the corner. That's always debatable. In Michigan, we don't get like the nicer weather till June. So I see the guys right now on Instagram. I'm watching them in Texas, and Florida. They're already starting back up. I'm like, we're not gonna be mowing grass for
What?
Dude, for real. Like, I'm like, we're not even gonna be mowing until end of April, early May at best. Like, it's just Michigan. It's the Midwest. So like these guys in Texas, they're like, yeah, I just got my new mower. We're gonna go lay some stripes this week. I'm like, right now it's like early February. It's actually Valentine's Day. So our wives are hanging out together. They said, screw you guys. No, I was kidding.
Oh yeah, Valentine's Day.
You can do anything tonight for the girl?
Every Valentine's Day, yeah, we
Going to dinner?
go out to dinner at this nice Italian restaurant down the street,
Ooh.
and I buy my wife roses and a card, and we
Yeah.
spend the whole evening together.
I love it. I love it. Liz and I told her, hey, we're doing dinner tonight at 6, actually with a friend of mine, Mike Bedell, and we're really nice steakhouse that Mike introduced me to, and it's way above my pay grade, and but it's really, really good food, some of the best food in Michigan. It's called the Big Rock, like steak and lobster. It's super good. But I'm like, hey, do you have anything going on in the morning? She's like, no. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna go do a podcast or two with Keith on the east side, and I'm leaving at 8 a.m. She's like, what? I'm like, bye. So anyway, we're working today, man. No days off. TGIF. The grind includes Friday.
The grind includes Friday.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to ask you about lawn care. My first couple years in my landscape business, I did cut grass my whole life, and I started cutting grass naturally when I had my business, and I was doing maintenance and lawn care, and I had to start pushing all my lawns to Sunday.
Oh wow.
I was going out and doing them a Saturday and Sunday on the weekends.
Sure.
And then I had so much request for landscaping installs and maintenance that my lawns became this huge pain in the ass.
Sure.
So I literally gave them all away.
Right.
And I went full blown and I never thought that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, how do you make money doing lawn care? Like, unless you have really strict route density, and how long does it take to build your business to the point where you have that route density and now you're just dominating those neighborhoods?
Well, I mean, super good question. I mean, it's so dynamic. We've tried to do a couple videos on these topics, on YouTube. And I think we even did one together when we were hanging out at a hotel together, and it was probably just a few videos back on your channel, like maybe or at the same time last year, to be honest with you. Here's the deal. There's not a ton of potential profit in maintenance, right? Like you said, you might make, less margins than a landscaping job or brick paver patios. So it's one of those volume things for sure. Like if you're not doing volume, it's hard to keep up. But I've also just said, you know what, I'm going to focus on one thing. We're really hardcore maintenance. Like we do cut 30, 35, 40 lawns a day. Now, of course, you have to have that hyper route density to do that. And so a little bit of context.
35 to 40?
Oh yeah, dude, we crush it. Like we don't even rack the mower. Like there's times we drop it off at 8, we rack it at noon, we go to lunch for 35, 45 minutes at Jimmy John's, we come back, we drop the mower, and I just literally shuttle house to house to house to house to house to house.
Word.
Dude, totally. So here's the deal. Like it's like, oh, how can you make money on $30 or $35 cuts? Well, it's 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35, 35. Right? And so yeah, you can do 800, 900,000 bucks a day. And we do that all day. But here's the deal, something that people like got to understand too is like if you're doing landscaping, it's kind of tough to like come home and like edit YouTube videos if you're doing landscaping. That's something that I give people that do landscaping like tons of credit to do YouTube behind the scenes because, when I get done at 6 o'clock, I kind of cash out my office on my yard books, you know what I mean? And I'm like, hey, here's everything that I got going on for the day, any special notes, so on and so forth. But like, do you do landscaping or patios, all this mess? You got to come home and do quotes for 2 hours. You got to price stuff, bid stuff, go to nurseries, do the whole deal. I don't do any of that mess. God bless those people. Now, again, some people are like, yeah, I just did a $4,500 landscape install and, it took 2.5 days, and they like net $1,800. I'm like, well, I'm mowing, $900 a day. It's the same thing. But, so anyway, mowing is not for everybody. I know that. I like mowing. But I think if you want to do mowing and do it right, you'd have to have that route density for sure. But dude, there's still stuff that we do like landscaping, like we'll do pruning, mulching, just a lot of the simple stuff. We don't get super fancy just because, I know my lane, if you will. But I love hardscaping, love brick paver patios, love outdoor living spaces, love all that mess. But I just know like, hey, we're a maintenance business. I've been doing this for a decade. My clients are used to a system. I'm used to a system. My employees are used to a system. My billing is all down. Like I've got everything kind of systematized and I know what to expect, and so, and plus it just fits into our lifestyle too. Like Liz and I want a little bit more predictability. We want to start a family this year, do the whole deal. And so at the end of the day, like you have to figure out what works best for you. So if you're a 19-year-old kid, you might not want to cut grass all day. I totally get that. You're like, I want to use big, $5,000, $25,000 landscape installs and, patios. Dude, that's awesome. The older you get, the less chance that you probably want to do all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that makes some sense. But little awkward silence here as Keith's taking photos. This guy's a social media guru and superstar. I should probably be doing the exact same thing, but again, I don't know what to do with my hands. So
I do think about that. So our business is 4 different quadrants. We do maintenance, landscaping installs, tree work, and window cleaning. The highest profit margin thing that we do is
pruning,
tree trimming all day.
I'd imagine, yeah.
Okay, because you see it, make it disappear, in and out, peace. And it's big shit that the customers can't get themselves type thing, whatever. Yeah. So the lowest profit thing we do is general maintenance hourly, like pulling weeds and stuff like that. Now, the highest ticket revenue generator we do is landscape installs. We do jobs from 6 to 10 grand. But at the end of the day, when I look at the numbers, the profit margin only goes up on so if we do a $4,000 to $5,000 landscape job, even $2,500, the profit margin is only it's 28%, and it only goes up above 50% after we cross 5-6 grand. Basically, the bigger the job,
Right.
the higher the ticket price, the more revenue that you can fit into little tiny pockets, and the
Right.
more. Now it's a time game. How quickly and efficiently can you
Well,
get this thing done?
20 yards of mulch versus 3 yards of mulch. And you got a spread finally.
Yeah, at some point you tip a fulcrum,
Right.
and then or you go rent out a machine or buy a machine, depending on how much, if you can fulfill the production capabilities of that machine. But what I'm saying is that landscape installs versus you doing what you're doing, it's the same.
Yeah.
Up until a certain point, and that's when you're fully invested into landscape installs, and then you've got a
Right.
cookie cutter system. I've competed against big companies that's all they do is installs,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't beat them, even though they're a bigger company with more overhead than me. Their price is actually cheaper than mine
Sure.
because they've got a system down to where they can just bang them out
Yep.
fast. They've got everything that they need, and so in the end of the day, I've been pissed off. The reason I'm saying this is because I've been on a landscape jobs. Oh yeah, I got an $8,000 job, and then we're on it, and it's like literally like the third, and it's running into a fourth day, and I'm pissed off counting my numbers, saying I just literally ran all over the place to the landscape supply like 5 times and all this crazy shit over everything with a fine-tooth comb to finish this job.
Sure.
And it was so many different variables, and I'll call up my buddies who are landscapers. That's why I quit doing landscape installs, bro. I was sick of it. That's why we just do maintenance or this or that.
Oh, that's why we do brick pavers, and if it's not 35 grand, we don't touch it. I'm like, what do you make on a 35 grand install? Like, oh, dude, we made like 6 grand. I'm like, nice, dude. How long did it take you? Oh, 6 days. I'm like, yeah, but I'm mowing 900 a day. Like, so I don't know. And they have like $100,000 skid steer, right? And like all this, there's no right or wrong answer, dude. You just have to learn your freaking business and learn your numbers and figure out what makes sense for you. There's just some things that
real quick, you can make really good money doing that if you do it right and you do it a lot, and you can crush it in landscape installs.
Totally.
But it's just but yeah, it seems that you've got your mowing business locked down, and that's this interesting novel thing that you do. It's that route density, bro.
Yeah. Well, it's funny if out of the 100 different things that you had to do right in a business, there's maybe like the first 5 or 6 I actually did right. Everything else I had to like learn over the last decade, let alone the last 4 or 5 years, especially, dude, throwing my life up on the internet, right? And just like going through the crucible and getting judged and comments and feedback and critiquing, all of it awesome. The good, the bad, and the ugly, right? But as we've continued to grow, I'm still pruning my lower 10% of my customers, right? The ones that don't make money. We're raising our prices 10% per year on all of our clients, and we lose a few, we gain a few, So this year we just sent out all of our loan agreements. Oh, dude, all of our prices are up like 20%. I just said, screw it. Like, I'm sick and tired of not getting paid what I'm worth. Like, your talk for my live event, dude, I keep talking to, every day I'm plugging this thing on Instagram and YouTube. Like, people are like, oh, I just bought your live recap from your Launchpreneur Academy live event, right? I'm like, or I'm about to. Is it worth it? Is it worth $100? And I get it. $100 is a lot of money. I'm like, dude, just Keith Kalfas' talk alone stole the show and is worth 10 grand to me. Why? And it's not like this hyperbole, right? Like, I will make $10,000 more minimum by just knowing my quote unquote worth as a human being. I'm not even talking like numbers, like what's your per man hour rate. I'm just talking about like, man, I am so worth more just between this talk that you and Stan both delivered, about like knowing your worth and don't let people talk you down, and, go find a contractor right now that can actually do a good job and show up and do quality work. And I'm like, dude, I'm that guy. I'm 33. I'm not a kid anymore. Right. I'm a professional. And I had to like change the way I even view myself and all this other mess. And I'm not saying like egotistical or pretentious. I'm just saying like, dude, we do a good job. Like, I'm really proud of the work that we do every day. And so anyway, like, I know like our numbers are going up because we're raising prices. We're pruning the headaches, and 2 years ago the problems were glaring, right? And now we're just continuously refining, right? Continuously refining the business to continue to make more money. And I'm jacked about 2020. I think it's going to be a breakout year for so many people. I've heard so many people across the board say like 2018, like people were just trying to dial it in. 2019, a lot of people were pruning and focusing. And like you said, I know so many people that are like, yeah, I'm done doing this. I'm done doing that. Or I got into this because I was listening to this one guy and I'm like, dude, I hate it, or I don't have the equipment for it. Right. And, then you look at all this mess and I've always been a like lean, pruning and leaning. I've always like lean marketing, lean this, lean. I'm like, we're always cutting out the fat. And I'm like, dude, if anything, I'm just getting more and more lean, and, so I think so many people listening to my content, your content, I wouldn't even say it's just green industry. I just think it's business in general. People are trying to focus. You look at so many different companies are dropping companies and dropping product lines. Just do the one thing and do it really, really well. So anyway, I think so many people listening are kind of in that phase, and you know what that means? Hyper profitable. Like I'm pumped about what we're gonna net, what we're gonna gross. 2020 is gonna be a really good year. So
Just letting that sink in. I was thinking about how valuable it is what we have at our fingertips, social media and podcasts and live events, and how this community has grown to what it is today. Like
totally,
literally 6-7 years ago, it wasn't like this. You were out on your own, dude.
I call it throwing mud up against the wall and see what sticks. Right? We've all heard that one. That was me in my first 10 years. And then 4 or 5 years ago, I saw you and like Greg Chisholm and, Geek to Freak and those guys and Top Notch, B&B Lawn Care. People listening to this podcast probably know of these guys. I wouldn't say like everybody's like trying to do like how-tos and reviews. They were just like kind of documenting their life and just having a good time, just, putting stuff out on YouTube. But dude, like I always tell people, like I've been a product of YouTube as well. Like it's a two-way street. Like I've tried to dispense as much good info that I can that I've done right. I've talked about the failures of what I've done wrong, but at the same point, like I just did a video like a week ago. I don't know when this podcast will come out, but I did a video not even a couple days ago talking about snow plowing, right? And whether or not to do residential and whether or not to do sidewalks part of residential. Dude, I could look up the video right now on my phone, but it had like 600 likes, 7,000 views, and like 200 comments in a day. 200 people leaving a paragraph on the video. Like, don't do shoveling, don't do residential. And then the next camp, do shoveling, do residential, but charge more. The next guy, like, well, we do this, this, and this. And like, some of these people have been doing this for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, and all these guys like, yeah, we dropped residential 20 years ago, never looked back. Next guy, I've been doing it for 10 years. We started with residential. We got more commercial, but we only do driveways only because the shoveling takes time. Like these little, so small nuances, right? Of like the business. You didn't have these kind of conversations 5 years ago. Nobody's competition because I don't know where this guy lives in Colorado. I don't know where this guy lives in Utah. This guy lives in Cleveland, Ohio. This guy lives in Grand Rapids, Michigan. These people they're not competition. They might be competition to the guy next door. So that's why you can't ask those questions. But you go watch Brian's Lawn Maintenance, and you got 200 comments there about how to price your shoveling or your snow removal or your lawn maintenance or your mulch prices. Like, I throw that all up there, and now there's 200, 300, 400, 500 comments, and you have these conversations. Well, what does that do? We all make more money. We all get better. It elevates the industry. It elevates the conversations, and it just makes us all better people. And dude, I'm a product of all that stuff too. So I'm always forever humble, forever thankful. Like it's not lip service. Like I don't know any other way to say it. Like my business has doubled in the last 12, 18 months because of all the stuff I've learned from guys like you, guys like everybody that comments, And so, yeah, I mean, that wasn't even a thing though 10 years ago. In my defense and a couple other people's defense, like that wasn't even a thing 10 years ago. We might have had like lawn site or lawnforum.com. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't even a conversation. There was no word called mentorship or coach. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't even a thing 10 years ago.
So powerful.
I just get excited. I got an energy drink in me and I'm just like,
I feel like I don't have to even respond much when you're talking. You get on a roll, and I'm just picturing everything you're saying, and you're answering everything that I could ask.
Well, that's my role. My role is to make your life easy.
I'm
just kidding. Brian's Lawn Maintenance. We aim to please.
There's two different perceptions. One is when you're working your tail off in your business, and you don't see your bank account going up, and you can get really frustrated and feel like, I hate this business. I want to quit. This industry sucks. There's no money in here. And then another one is like, well, wait a second. This thing pays all my bills, and I have a roof over my head, and I have gas in my truck, and my insurance is paid, and we're going out to eat on Friday night.
Right.
Like, what's true?
Well, I am that guy. We've been doing this for 13 years. I don't have $1.3 million in the bank. So what's the disconnect, right? Because there's other guys that probably do, or $250,000 in the bank, $100,000, more than what I do in the bank, right? So what's the disconnect? The disconnect is some people had a better grip on it. They had a better perspective. They had some better contacts, and they had some better teaching and training, and they have a different thought process. But if you don't know, again, it just goes full circle. If you don't know what you don't know, how can you work on those things? And so the last couple of years, I've been trying to work on those little problems. Like, I've always loved the business. I've always loved my company. I've always loved the industry. I've always loved cutting grass. Like, I've been doing this since I was like 10 years old, bro. Like I did it from 10 to 16. went and worked at Little Caesars for like 4 years, and because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. Cutting grass is for kids or losers. Like doing landscaping, that's for losers. Like that's dude, you live in Michigan. Like it's a little bit of context here if you guys don't know, but like we grew up in Michigan. Like when you turn 18, it's not like you're going to Michigan State, University of Michigan, OU. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not even like a conversation of are you going to go to college? It's, hey, what college are you going to next so you can get your job at the next automotive company? It's like if you go, yeah, I think I might be self-employed or want to go into the trades or work on auto or auto body. Why would you do that? Well, I just like working with my hands. I like to, and they don't say this, right, Keith? They don't say this. Your guidance counselor didn't say this, but it's like they basically imply you're going to be a loser. And I'm like, that's not true. I'm like, I have family friends that are small, carpentry and construction. They make $120,000 a year, and they have for 30 years. I know electricians right now making $70,000 a year. I know all these things. And by the way, so that like that corporate America like lever, I call it, had been like held down, I think, for about 10 or 20 years too long. We need the doctors, we need the lawyers, we need the engineers, we need all those smart people. But there's an equal camp of smart people that don't square peg round hole. They don't fit into that traditional school system, that traditional college environment, the traditional 9 to 5. I know I did. I mean, that you look at 9 to 5, you look at prison. To me, I go, what's the difference? Like I just can't look at that. Like I would literally go like lunatic crazy trying to be in those environments. And I did. I was in like Little Caesar corporate for like 6 months. I was becoming an assistant manager, co-manager, store manager. Then it was going to be a training manager. And then you started spending time in the office downtown at the Fox building. And I was like, dude, there's no way. Like, no, I already saw the writing on the wall. And plus I got fired, which means I just had this resentment. I will never work for somebody ever again. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of like my little story there. But again, I like working with my hands. And when I started doing all this stuff and working on me and working on the business, there was like these bottlenecks and these pain points I talk about. And I just had to start attacking them. Like, I don't know. I feel like, it's like like the iRobot movie, like they have these like little nanobots or something like that, and like attack something, and like, the computer like shuts down, and it's just, I had to ferociously attack certain things in my life. Certain parts of my marriage I was horrible at. Like, I was really good at this, maybe not the best romantic. Really good at opening a car door, not exactly the best way to, to give compliments to my wife. Like when I was trying to talk, right? I'd be like, what's up, douchebag? And she'd be like, what? And I'm like, oh, that's, because I grew up with brothers, right? I didn't have any sisters, you know what I mean? So like I had to work on all these little nuances, probably just like a lot of you guys did. But when you find these like pain points and parts that stink about your business, well, they don't have to forever be pain points. Like they don't forever have to suck. If your business isn't making money, it's not business ownership sucks. It's just that you might not know something, and we were just talking on my podcast, like you were saying, don't be so hard on yourself. Like just take some time and learn. I mean, that was me the last 4 years. I had to humble myself, humble the ego, learn so much, so many different things I didn't know. Things I thought I knew, by the way, were actually wrong. I had to unlearn and then relearn. That's a whole nother topic. I'm like, oh, you ever hear like rich people are greedy? I'm like, yeah, dude, they're so greedy. Then you start making a couple bucks in life and you're like, wait a minute, I'm a good person. Wait a minute, not all rich people are mean. Actually, rich people are usually the most philanthropic.
So many self-limiting beliefs that were instilled in us in our formative years, like
totally
that. And one self-limiting belief can hold everything back, and it's so real to you that you'll fight, and you just know it to be true, and you have all the data and all the logic to back up why that belief is real. Because no, the belief is real because this is why that belief is real. Don't you fucking doubt me.
Right. Your values, your morals, your spiritual walk, your religious walk. Like dude, the last like my principles are very sound. Like I've got major core values, major core beliefs, and they've grounded everything that I've had to learn. But everything else, dude, I've been like so moldable. I feel like Gumby, like the last 4 years, I've had to like learn, grow, get to a different level. And then the same thought process that brought me to that level will not take me to the next level. So I have to unlearn, relearn, reposition, And it's just been, what it's been, to be honest with you, super exciting and super exhausting. Like it's been one of those things where, the bags under my eyes are like the outward. But people don't understand there's something internally going on, and it's just exhaustion. Like there's sometimes people look at my eyes and like they're glossed over and they're like, what do you want? I go, I just don't have any sleep. you know, I've been working 80 hours, 100 hours a week to take care of my girl and you know, my mom who's getting older and my girl's mom who's getting older. And I, you know, I see the writing on the wall. You know, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a couple people's 401k here. Like, you know, so anyway, that's why I go. Plus I don't know, I just get caught up in helping people because I know how much pain was like behind the scenes in my life, you know, with like not having money, not feeling successful, not feeling accomplished. You know, all these different, you know, like you said, societal peer pressures, you know, not having a home, not having kids, not having a girl, not having nice cars, all this. Fill in your poison, pick your poison, I would say, you know, no watches, no clothes, no cars, no shoes, no nothing. Right. And so I just wanted to right a lot of not wrongs, but I don't know, dude, when I start learning how to be successful, I then kind of realized I need to make up for some lost time. Actually, I'll give you an analogy. Imagine this. Imagine you got this huge cylindrical, steel drum, right, on this like perfect axle. This thing is just like perfectly like NASA precision tools, right? This huge wheel that's just spinning. It's going as fast as you can imagine, spinning. And that was like the last 10 years of my life was I put my hands on this wheel, right? And this disc, it was just spinning and I put my hands on it and it would like, I tried to slow it down and I'd make like a little bit of effort on it, but like my hands would burn up. So I got to take my hands off. Right. And then I'm like, oh, I got to get this steel things from stopping the spin. So like I put my hands on it again and like it'd burn my hands off and I got like, oh, it hurts. But it would start to slow down just so incrementally. Right. But you wouldn't even notice. And then like I turn around, I put my back on it. Right. Like I'm like, oh, I'll just put my back on it, burn it up. And it would like really kind of like, you know, pump the brakes on it. But this thing is, you know, this, you know, 2-ton steel wheel just spinning and spinning and spinning. Well, I was just trying to stop it and stop it and stop it. I'd stop it and put my hands on it. And, you know, by the way, it took about 10 years for this wheel, like this Price is Right wheel, you know what I mean? To just stop spinning. And I was like, okay, this was about 2 to 3 years
Is
ago.
the wheel like the speeding locomotive train of life happening fast,
just going
running you over and you can't?
100%.
What is it?
It's life. It's just, you know what it is? It's so many negative cycles. It's poverty. It's my family's name. It's my relationship. It's my everything. It's like all these different problems. This wheel is this all-encompassing problem of like me not being able to live up to my full potential. All negative beliefs, self-limiting beliefs, just all the toxicity, just enough of this life, you know, all this life coming at me, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I got to stop it. You know what I mean? Like dude, this is so funny. I've never shared this story, but I literally remember going down the road about 4 or 5 years ago, probably about 4 years ago. And I was driving and it just like, I was having this exact same internal dialogue and conversation with myself. And I'm just like, why is all this stuff happening? Why can't I make it? Why is my life not propelling forward like I want? And dude, like, I swear to God, like the Holy Spirit jumped up in me and I yelled out loud in my truck. It was such a weird experience because I've never had this happen, but I yelled out, well, fight back. Like, dude, I had this total out of body experience. Like, I did not say those words. Like, I was just like, I had this crazy out of body experience where I just screamed at my truck. I remember I was on the road going to my mom's house and I just went, fight back. I was like, what the is that? It wasn't me. But that was like God and the Holy Spirit in my interpretation yelling at me to be like, stop with the whining. Like, stop. Like, put your shit together. Get your shit together. And so here's what happened. It took me 10 years to stop all these negative things going on in my life, right? And then I meet Liz 6-7 years ago, and we've been married for 5 and just rock. She is like my girl. She is my everything, right? Like, I love my girl. And so I'm starting to, about 6 years ago, we kind of meet and I start having this big steel drum. Well, the story doesn't stop just because I got the thing to stop spinning, right? Now I got to start spinning it the other way. You know what I'm saying? So now I get on this drum and I put my hands on it and I push it upwards. I'm like, we got to get this thing spinning. This is prosperity. This is wealth. This is happiness. This is momentum, right? So I'm moving this wheel and it starts kicking upwards. Okay. Well, so I put my hands on it and it peaks upwards, but then I take my hands off it and it kind of like turns back a quarter turn and it goes right back to where it was. And that was my first lesson about consistency. Right? Because you can't just, you know, if you stop the wheel too, and then you want to push the wheel up, you have to continue momentum, right? You can't go to the gym for 2 hours one day and not go the next 3 days and go every week for every day for the year, right? Like one of the things I say a lot, and I borrowed it from somebody else, was you never quite own success. You can only rent it. Your rent is due every day. I heard that quote, and that spoke volumes to my life. So 4 or 5 years ago, I heard that quote. And so what happens is I start pushing on the wheel. What does that mean? I'm raising my prices. I'm knowing my worth. I'm learning my business. I'm working on my accounting. I'm working on my finances. I'm working on my relationship. I'm working on my spiritual walk. Like every little thing, every single day, working on all this stuff. So I'm pushing the wheel. And the wheel like went one whole rotation. Holy crap! I'm already exhausted, right? Because it's tough, dude. Like, there's no momentum in the beginning. I'm pushing this wheel some more. I meet Liz. Hey, like, what's up? I'm going this way. We're going on this adventure. She's like, hey, I like you. You're a good looking dude. Let's do this thing. so we're having some fun. And I go, hey, by the way, I pull back this curtain, right? And by the way, she had her own wheel. And it took about 2-3 years for me to stop her wheel. And so our wheels combined in this weird fictitious analogy. And now we got this big ass wheel, and it's like barely got enough spinning, right? So what do? Liz and I, we both start putting our hands on this wheel, right? And this wheel starts picking up a little bit of steam, and we're slapping it. We're trying to spin it, right? And then my younger brother behind the scenes, he's helping me with stuff. I meet a Keith Kalfas in my life. Keith doesn't even know that he's here, and Keith's spinning this wheel up, doing the whole thing. I meet a Stanley Dirt Monkey behind the scenes. And, sometimes I meet Stan, and Stan comes running over, and Stan starts helping me flip up the wheel. And he doesn't know that, but Stan's helping me spin this wheel the right way. I meet all these people on YouTube. And again, it's this two-way street, and they don't know this, but they're figuratively helping me spin this wheel upwards, right? And now behind the scenes, by the way, this took 4.5, 5 years. But now this wheel starts to pick up some steam. And by the way, the momentum, because of the weight of this ball bearing, this steel drum, it's starting to spin on its own, right? And it's kind of got the self-reinforcing momentum. And by the way, what am I doing now? I'm still, as hard as you can imagine, because I'm still paying my dues, I'm still paying rent every day, smacking this wheel as hard as I can every single day to get it to go faster, to continue this momentum. And by the way, like the size of this bearing continues to grow because my life continues to grow. And so this momentum cycle is some stuff that I read about, but I just didn't understand it until I went through it. And by the way, like, hopefully people understand, like, I haven't arrived. Hopefully folks understand, like, I'm still in the process, right? Hopefully folks understand, like, I'm not, this multi-millionaire guy, but I'm just telling you, here's what folks don't understand. Like, they see a more finished product that I've been, on YouTube, but what they don't understand is, like, I grew up with nothing. I grew up in a double wide trailer, right? Like, I didn't come as far back as you. Like, we just shared your story on my podcast. I didn't know it was that rough. And I could just give you so much credit for where you're at today. So I wasn't that far back, but we were still really far back. And people don't understand that to have the outward success, you have to do this internal success. It takes 5 to 10 years of working on you internally. Like, I heard some guy say, like, you got to unzip yourself, pull out all these different components, lay them all on the table, look at how this one sucks, this one sucks, this one sucks, this one sucks, this is okay, this one sucks, this one's okay. Well, I had to work on this, and this, put them all back inside me, zip me back up. But that takes 5 to 10 years. I see so few people willing to do that, to work on themselves. So what does that look like? Going to self-help books and seminars and conferences and networking and association and all this other mess, which I give so many other people credit for helping build me up. Like, I'm a product of so many different people. And by the way, like, again, I'm still spinning and putting my hands on this wheel every single day to keep it going. Because now I see this 10 years, 20 years of my life, that I can now right a lot of wrongs. I can start growing my company, making more money, taking care of my mom, taking care of my girl, taking care of friends around me. I'm so generous with money behind the scenes. Folks don't even know. Like, I give so much money away, it's not even funny. And I don't care, to tell people what we do, because the right hand isn't supposed to let the left hand know what it's doing, right? It's nobody's responsibility or role, or nobody needs to know what I'm doing behind the scenes. But again, I'll tell you guys what, man, like, I'm just a giver, man. I just care about people. I love people, and I just want to help people. And hopefully that momentumous style story, like, hopefully gives you guys some hope that if you're in the same boat that I was, maybe by the way, maybe your wheel wasn't spinning as hard or as fast. Maybe your wheel is spinning already in the right direction, and this gives you an encouragement to keep on keeping on. I don't know. Maybe you're just somewhere along the way, that whole story, that whole analogy. But dude, it took me 10 years to stop that wheel. And now that it's stopped, I'm like, dude, I want to spend the next 10 years of my life spinning this wheel so freaking out of control where it starts steaming, because my life has so much crazy momentum. I'm 2 or 3 years into that process. Like we're not even starting. Like we're just getting started. And it sounds so cliche because I'm having so much fun, but dude, the next 5-10 years, like who knows where it's gonna go.
That's dope.
I don't know. I just stole your whole mic, your whole time.
So like, if you like, I go back and say, I get angry and say, I wish I knew this stuff in my 20s.
Dude, totally.
But if you look at the glass half full, you could be like, oh my God, look how far I've come.
Right.
The next 5-6 years are going to be incredible.
Yep.
Oh my God. In 10 years, all my dreams would have come true times 3.
Right.
Because when you start the process, you realize that you're not behind. Oh, I'm too old. I've lost too much time. It's a way. No. You're ahead of the curve. Like when you look at it that way, and like a bell curve, how things, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 2.
100%.
When you look at it like that, from that perspective, oh my God.
Everybody quits when it goes from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16. Everybody now with, YouTube and social media, everybody sees the 128s going to 256, right? And the 256 in this analogy going to 512. So like, look at all these people around me having all this magnanimous success and, money and fame and fortune and brand deals or what. Pick your thing. But where everybody quits is the 1 to 2, the 2 to 4.
Because those take the longest.
It's the hardest effort index in for the lowest result out. That's just success, bro. That's just success. Like I'm not Mr. Successful here, but I know enough about success where, like getting to your first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, people are like, oh my God, it was 80 videos and I don't even know what I'm doing. And the video, the editing and all that, it's this skill set you got to develop, right? We're talking YouTube for a second. And it sucks. I'm like, hey, from 1 to 10, 0 to 1,000 subscribers took me a year. From year 2, from 1 to 10,000 subscribers, right? So we 10x'd in the same window, right? But then my YouTube channel went from like 10 to like 45,000. So we quadrupled again in the same year. And then the next year went from 40 to 80,000.
Yeah, and when you do that and you see it happen in your own life, your own business, your own projects, you start to say, what levers can I pull that give me geometric results?
Sure.
How can me with my truck and trailer and my yard signs or my marketing out working in a neighborhood?
Right.
Wait a second. The whole neighborhood is seeing.
Mm-hmm.
If I keep working in this neighborhood more often, it increases the chances that the people in this neighborhood are going to see me more. They're going to get used to my truck and trailer. They're going to like me.
Totally.
Like
it works in your traditional business.
When you start seeing things through geometric eyes, you start realizing you have control over things that you previously didn't think that you did.
Yep.
And now it starts, you can channel your direction into things that compound.
Well, you start looking for the things to put your time into that will compound.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that.
Well, because I mean, you know why? It's so easy to just do the linear things too. The linear things are awesome, but you'll never save enough nuts for the winter, if you will, like a squirrel. You got to start playing the long game too. You can't just play the short game. And that took me years to realize too. I had people like, well, how do you have time for all these YouTube videos? Other people, how do you have time to make real estate deals? Other people, how do you have time to buy apartments or flip houses? I'm like, dude, you don't have enough time to not do that, because eventually you're going to get outed. Eventually you're going to get, your back is going to out, your health is going to out, your time is going to out. You're eventually going to be exhausted. Eventually you're going to be 60. Eventually something's going to eventually out you. You can't just outwork the problem. You have to outsmart and outthink and outplan for your future. And by the way, one other thing I'll say is this is not exclusive. Like your breakthrough, I always thought it was exclusive to other people. Like for real, bro. Like I always thought other people would say like they've had their breakthroughs, they get successful, and by the way, like I'm like 2 years into this like upward tick. Like I'm not professing to have arrived. There's no way I'll say that. But I always like, well, look at everybody else having the breakthrough. Look at this guy on YouTube or Instagram or this or that or family members, right? Like when's mine's coming? And so I only share just to relate that I'm in the process, just like you guys are. Like somebody might be one season ahead of you, but we're all on that same train.
Well, I do think that on that spectrum, looking at somebody else who's crushing it, if it gets you jealous or upset or angry or makes you go through a season where you become competitive or like, I got to figure this thing out. How are they doing? There's two different ways. Or you can look at it and it's inspirational, but sometimes that might be the
I say
the
both are
pain
great.
it takes to get you to take action. Because if you really want to say things that you say you want,
Well, I call it righteous anger. I built everything over the last 4 years on righteous anger and competitiveness. So it's funny because like externally, I am not loud, outspoken, Mr. People Skills. Like I'm not Mr. Be in front of the camera like so many other people are, especially on YouTube. If we're talking YouTube, behind the scenes, I'm really competitive. But I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna outfocus, out consistent, outperform, right? And there's nothing wrong, dude. Sounds really bad. I've probably never publicly said this either. But like when I was growing my YouTube channel, I'm like, I'm at 800 subscribers. This guy's at 1,000. I'm gonna just make great videos so I crush that, dude.
I think thoughts like that.
Do you ever get like that?
Oh yeah.
I mean, this guy's around town.
I don't share it at all, but I'm pretty competitive. I hide that part.
Totally.
But dude, I'm like, you will never fucking outwork me. I will fucking make 1,000 YouTube videos.
Or out edit, out perform, out music you. I will find the best music track. It's just, I mean, we're talking YouTube and being nerds, but like it was the same thing with my business. I will out brand you. I will out market you. I will work my guts off to learn and to outperform. But you know what? You need that. Like, here's a tip. I don't care if you grow your life with happiness or you grow your life with being mad or angry. I'll be honest with you. 90% of my breakthroughs in the last 5 years came from me being angry. I mean,
yes, sometimes that's what it takes is getting angry.
Dude, I'd be so mad at the fact that I'd be so mad with my wife. Like I would be, why are we fighting? Is what I would like eventually like either in the moment or like, 2 hours later when we both calm down, after we slam doors, after somebody, ripped out of the parking lot, living in an apartment, Fullertons are fighting again. Our neighbors, bro, on both sides watch my podcast and my YouTube videos. I was walking down one day, swear to God, and this guy walks down with me at like 7:30 in the morning. We're both leaving, and he's in HVAC, and he goes, "Hey, what's up, Brian?" I go, "Hey, good morning." And he goes, "Hey, by the way, dude, I loved your Milwaukee heated jacket review video." I went, "Come again?" I mean, imagine like this abrupt at 7th. I'm, rubbing crusties out of my eyes, still waking up. And the guy goes, "Dude, great job." I go, You watched my video?" He goes, "Yeah, dude, I watched your videos for like the last couple of months." I'm like, and dude, just panic. I'm like, dude, we just had a blowout like a week ago. Slam doors, like the whole deal. I ripped out of the parking lot with my Infinity. Cold start, what? And I'm like, oh my God. And then on the other side, of my apartment would be this other guy, who I'm still really good buds with. And dude, like, I know he heard that fight because I was banging on that wall. And I got so mad that we were having fights. I got so mad that I was broke. I got so mad we had no money in the checking account. I got so mad that I just spent 3 years burning up a lawnmower. The engine's burned up. I got to trade it in. I got no money to buy a new one. I just got so mad at everything. I said enough is, literally, like I said earlier, 4 years ago, this voice just came out of me. Fight back. Fight back. Grant Cardone would say, stop being a little bitch. But for me, it was fight back.
My word is bold. What
Bold?
would the bold Keith do? Yeah, fight back. So if you have to snap and get angry and flip out, dude, to say fuck that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
gonna be honest with you. Like that disc, it was spinning. The cavalry wasn't coming. Right, the cylinder that's spinning, this Price is Right wheel, it's spinning, it's spinning, it's spinning. Who's gonna stop it? Like, dude, sorry, it's up to you. If it is to be, it's up to me. What's the old one? Work like it depends on you, pray like it depends on him. I mean, that's how my whole story was. So that's what I got, dog.
Fight back, dude.
All right,
let's wrap this up, dude. Awesome having you on the show. Where can everybody find you, Brian?
Brian's Law Maintenance YouTube, Brian's Law Maintenance Instagram, and then the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's going to be my new thing for 2020, and people want the real story, the real conversations behind the scenes. Whether you guys know it or not, you can't. YouTube is just not the forum for that, right? Podcasting it is, and so I invite you guys to come hang out. If you guys want some belief that if I can do it, you can do it. I'm that guy. Come hang out. I'll raise your belief, and I think you have a good time hanging out. So,
whoop whoop.
We out.
We out.
Thanks again for joining.
Awesome, bro. Hey.
Yes.
And I got some pictures. I'm putting this up. Your Instagram and my Instagram.
Yes.
Check it out. Check out the stories.
Thanks for having me. Untrapped.
Untrapped.
We'll see you guys.